Hey filmmakers, Jason Brubaker with Filmmaking Stuff, talking to you from sunny Southern California. Today, I want to share an experience with you. The first film that I ever worked on, I was in New York City. I was working alongside a producer, and I felt a little bit like a big shot. Now, I wasn't producing the film. I was just an assistant to the producer during the development phase of the film. But we had the film cast, we'd had the screenplay fully refined and polished and ready and broken down into a schedule and a budget, and we had investors that had already given us some money. And guess what? I was super excited to be able to work on my first feature film. But you know what happened? I went to breakfast with that producer one day, and it was just like casually brought up over eggs that we'd lost our funding source. And with the loss of that funding source, I lost my job. I was, in a sense, fired for the first time, if you will. And I got to tell you, when that sort of thing happens to you, it's like a shock to the system. In retrospect, and that's been, what, like 10, 12 years since that happened. And like, look, when that happens to you, you feel like you're like, bam, you're on the ground. You got a bloody nose. Here's the thing. And I don't mean to be like generic in what I'm going to say, but like life is going to happen to all of us. And when that sort of thing happens to you, what I learned from experience, mourn your losses, lick your wounds for a second, but you're going to have to get the heck back up. You're going to have to wipe off your bloody nose, and you're going to have to push boldly towards finding your next opportunity. And like for some of you, that comes easier than others. So if you haven't been fired yet, right? And those of you that have been fired, I'd love to hear your comments down below. Please don't disparage any past employers or mention any names. But if you've had that experience of being fired, I'd love to hear from you. But for those of you that haven't gone through that, here's what I'm going to tell you. This is based on experience. You can choose to follow my advice or not, but please get yourself out of debt. And if you're like one of these people that's stuck in like a ton of debt, focus on that and knock that stuff out, because debt is going to kill your dreams fast, and it really puts you at a disadvantage, if you ever lose your source of income. The second thing that I'll have you do too, in addition to the debt thing, is just have an emergency fund. Like, look, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm only telling you what I do. But if you have a really, really strong emergency fund, that allows you, in the case of something not working out the way that you want it to work out, that allows yourself to buy yourself some time. And it also removes a desperation factor, so that when you go into meetings to potentially get your next job or negotiate for your next deal, you're not desperate. So again, get yourself out of debt, have an emergency fund. For those of you that have been fired, I'd love to hear your experience down below. For those of you that haven't been fired, it's going to come. And it's happened to me. I don't want it to be a painful experience. You got to prepare for it, but there are no certainties in any business. You just got to really push towards your goals boldly. And in the event that something goes haywire, you got to plan for that plan B. Anyway, I don't want to babble on anymore. My main point today was just be prepared for when life, throws you some lemons, make lemonade. How's that for a cliche close? Anyway, as always, take action and make your movie now. And also there's some links. There is one link either down below or up above, or a button. If you click on that and fill out some information, in return, I'll give you some filmmaking stuff so that I can continually share some of these entrepreneurial filmmaking success tips with you. Talk to you again real soon. Thanks.